How do you know when it's time to fire an employee? That's a great question, and we're going to talk about that today. Hi there, I'm Angela Brown, and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question, and I get to help you find an answer. Now, today's show is brought to us by SavvyPerks.com. And if you are looking for ways to incentivize the good employees that you have so they will stay with you and they are not insubordinate and you don't have to fire them and you want to reward their great behavior, SavvyPerks.com is a great benefits program that we've put together for small business owners, for house cleaners who have 1 or 2 or 3 employees. Now, this is the same benefits package that major corporations are offering to their employees, and it's got some amazing stuff. But as house cleaners, as small mom and pop shops, we don't qualify for the benefits on our own. And so you can get things like hearing aids and glasses and stuff like that through Savvy Perks at a fraction of the cost, like 60 to 70% off. So it's an amazing place to save some money and to offer some benefits to your employees where you're not forking out a whole bunch of cash, but it's like for the price of a sandwich per month. Then you get to have these awards and rewards and benefits and perks that you can offer your employees. So SavvyPerks.com. All right, on to today's show, which is from a house cleaner who called into the show. There are multiple ways you can contact us. Some people respond on YouTube. Some people respond on Facebook. There are people that call into the show. There are people that text into the show. There are people that email me at angela@askahousecleaner.com. You can go to the main website, which is askahousecleaner.com. There's a little blue button. You can click on the blue button and you can just start recording a message to me here at the show. All right, today the question came from a girl who called in and she's really frustrated because her main employee, this is the golden employee, has become insubordinate and she's bossing people around and she's fussing with the customers. And when the boss tries to explain to her things that are happening, she's like, oh, that doesn't apply to me. And she's sassy and she's bossy and she's just kind of taking over the company. She's kind of hijacking the company away from the boss, and the boss is losing control very quickly. And so she wants to fire this person, but she happens to be the best employee. So she says, what on earth do I do? All right, there is a myth in the house cleaning business that because you are the boss, you can just hire and fire people whenever you want. And I say it's a myth because a lot of people use that as a strength. That's not a strength, that's a weakness. If you're firing people right and left, that says something about you as a leader, not just your employees. If you're getting a lot of pushback from an employee, where is that coming from? And the reason I ask is because it's coming from somewhere. People don't just randomly wake up one day and go, today I'm going to be bossy. I'm going to push people around and I'm going to be a bully and I'm going to antagonize my customers and I'm just going to see how much fun that's going to be. People don't do that, right? Usually when people are antagonistic, it's because there's something going on at home. There's something that's going on within the company. There's some way that they feel that they've been mistreated or things are unfair or that they're not being heard. And there are a lot of house cleaners that don't understand the process of leadership. Running a house cleaning business is so much more than vacuuming floors, right? If you're going to have a team of people, you need to take some leadership training because part of the leadership training is knowing how to read people. And if your employee cries and they show up and their eyes are all bloodshot and red and they look tired, that needs to be addressed. People that are happy and successful and on top of the world, they don't show up looking like that. And so as a boss, you got to stop and say, hey, what's going on? Share with me what's happening. Because what we don't know is there are grown adults that by their upbringing, they've been taught to put on a happy face. And so when they show up for work, they're like, I'm so happy. And they're not. They're being battered and abused at home. Or they have 0 food on their table at home and they're starving. There are things that are going on that they're not maybe going to come tell you because you are their boss. There are house cleaners that have called out, hey, I can't come into work today. And the boss just flies off the handle. And they're like, but you said you were going to be here. I was counting on you. What they didn't find out and they didn't take the time to understand is the house cleaner is very proud and they're trying to provide for their family. And they've spent all their money. They have no gas money to get from their house to your house so they can go on the cleaning jobs. So they just called out sick because they don't know how to deal with that scenario. Okay, that's a very easy to solve problem. If there are other house cleaners that live in that area, we can have somebody swing by and pick them up this week. Maybe you can give them an advance from now until Friday. And I mean it as a one-time thing. I don't mean create a precedent where you're giving them money in advance every week. I don't mean that. I mean, help them out of this bind this week so they can keep coming back to work. Because if putting food on their table is of interest to them, and it sounds like it is, they need to come to work today so they have money today so they can come back to work again tomorrow, right? Rinse and repeat. But if you don't know what's going on and you can't help the people that you're working with, it becomes a really weird situation where you jump to conclusions as the boss and then you want to fire these people. Well, firing an employee that's trying to put food on the table only makes them more angry, right? So if they're being antagonistic and they're being angry with the other employees and they're bossing people around, it's very possible they're getting that pushback from somewhere. And as a survival technique, they're pushing back. They're trying to throw their weight around like, hey, I'm trying to survive here. I'm sinking really fast. Somebody help me. It could be emotional sinking. It could be financial sinking. It could be physical sinking. I don't know what it is, but people don't act like that on a normal basis, right? So when you hire somebody from day one, you need to have a conversation with them and say, okay, in this particular job, here are the roles. I get to be the boss. You get to be the employee. Is that fair? Okay, great. That means I am responsible to pay you every week. And even if that means I don't get paid this week, I will guarantee that you get paid every week. Is that fair? Well, that might not be fair, but that's the agreement that you're making. Okay, the rules for you is that you show up as an employee and you do the work that you're offered. Is that fair? And you keep verifying that you're on the same page. And so you've already decided this up front. You've already decided what the relationship is going to be. If your employee shows up one day and they decided that they've become the boss suddenly and they're pushing people around, well, we need to go back to that conversation and say, hey, wait a second. When you were hired here, we had a conversation. I was going to be the boss and you were going to be the employee. And it looks like you've taken over my job. So if you want all the responsibilities of my company and you want to pay all the bills, maybe I should make you the main person of the company. But right now you're still the employee. That has not been offered to you. So do we still have an agreement? And you can come back to the way things used to be. And if that person cannot be reasoned with, then there may be other things you can offer. There are a lot of corporations that offer their companies and their employees things like free therapy or a gym membership, ways to clear your head and ways to work out some of that angst. Because I got news for you. It's more expensive for you to go out and find new employees and new customers than it is to keep the ones that you have. If you keep the ones that you have and you work through the little issues, a lot of times they're hiccups. And a lot of times it's just PMS. There are people that get really mad and angry for no reason. Like for no reason. It's chemical. It's biorhythmic. It just happens. When people come to my company, I tell them up front, you're going to have 3 bad days a month. And you're allowed 3 bad days a month. I don't know what that looks like for you, but you're allowed 3 just days, right? If you want to take them all at once. You take the whole day, like 1 day here, 1 day here, 1 day here. Don't take 5 minutes here and 10 minutes here. That just makes me crazy, right? But if you want to state claim on a day and say, I'm just being miserable today, great, great. At least you acknowledged it. Now we all know, and we'll all take a step back and you can have your bad day today, right? That's cool. That's fine. And then tomorrow when you come back, all the relationships are still intact. Everybody still gets along. Nobody got bullied. Nobody got fired. It's fine. You still have to work on the days that you're having a bad day. It's just you kind of isolate yourself until whatever this cloud of junk that's over you kind of drifts off and goes on its merry way, right? Everybody's entitled to bad days. Everybody. Customers, clients, employees, bosses. There is not an employee anywhere at some point that hasn't just hated their boss. Like, I totally hate my boss today. I wish I could just quit. And by the same token, there's not a boss anywhere that hasn't hated the employees sometimes. Like, ugh, this employee is driving me crazy. I wish I could just fire them. And maybe you can. But why? Why just fire somebody? And so here's the secret. As the boss, if you've kept all of your paperwork intact and you have an employee file and you've kept all of your conversations with your employees professional and you've set ground rules and you have boundaries, you can fire them at any time if they meet the criteria for being fired. So you don't have to fire them today. If you're feeling like, oh, I'm going to fire somebody today, don't. You can fire them tomorrow. You can fire them next week. What is going on? You're a really smart person, and there's probably a really good reason for what's happening. And if they can shed some light, there are probably things you can do to make a difference in the vein of leadership. And as a leader, if you have followers and you have people that want to work for you, you will be in a situation that is unmatched by most house cleaners, because the house cleaning industry is a revolving door. People don't stay loyal with house cleaning companies unless the person that has employed them really gets them and understands them and is a leader and guides them and motivates them and all these things. So as a business owner, what do you do if you want to fire an employee? Slow everything down, because there are probably things that you can do as a leader that could make a huge impact on their life, and they in turn could make a huge impact on yours. And at the end of everything that's said and done, you end up keeping the same employees, and they end up in turn keeping the customers. This way they're not running off customers and you're not running off employees. So that's my 2 cents for today. I would really stop and focus on what's actually happening behind the scenes and where that pushback is coming from. Alrighty, until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.